Hey everyone, welcome to build 1.0.0.8, and in this video we're going to go over Albrecht's Aether in that version of the game. And this build video is warranted given the amount of changes they made to items, and the changes they made to the Raise the Dead ability in the Revenant Constellation. Now the Revenant Constellation is awesome. It's one of my favorites, it's a great set of abilities, but Raise the Dead was always kinda garbage? Raise the Dead, as an ability, I mean, it just wasn't that great. It used to be you'd summon skeletons and they'd scale with pet bonuses, which on the surface doesn't sound bad. You'd think you'd add that into a pet build and you'd get, like 5 skeletons running around once this ability's maxed out, and they'd help you deal damage and take damage and generally be good pets. Well, the problem with Raise the Dead was always that you had to do the killing with an ability to get them. And if you run in a pet build, you don't want to be the one doing the killing to activate abilities. You want your pets to do all the work for you. So Raise the Dead was kind of in like this void between being a pet ability, but also being kind of totally useless. Well, in version 1.0.0.8, they changed this ability, and it actually works really well now. So Raise the Dead, it'll summon up your skeletons, but they scale with your bonuses now. And they deal vitality damage, aether damage, and still have their slow. They're still affected by Iskander's Elemental Exchange, and if you're building vitality or aether, they actually can deal quite a bit of damage on their own. I went out and tested this, and the skeletons were hitting for like 4,000 damage, 6,000 damage on a crit maybe. And I mean, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but this guy has 4 of them running around, and he's still doing what he's doing. So that's just a good chunk of added damage while you're fighting through trash mobs. Having them slow is also helpful, and having more targets on the field is also helpful. Now, my Albrecht's Aether guy here, I did equip this before the patch so he could level it up a little bit, because I pretty much knew I'd be using this ability. And we're going to go over his abilities now. And we'll get to the devotion in due time, but here are his Arcanist abilities. So we want Iskander's Elemental Exchange at 22 out of 12, and with our gearing, it goes, we just put 11 points in it. We don't need to cap it out, and it will get to its ultimate level, 1 point on its other abilities. We want Mirror of Rockies on as quick a cooldown as possible. It gets jumped up to 12 out of 12, with our plus skills. Same thing with Maven Sphere, we want it at 12 out of 12, it'll get there. 1 on conversion, it's almost always a 1-point wonder. Reckless Powers, 7 out of 12, and that'll get to 12 out of 12. Devastation's a 1-pointer. Again, 5 points on Electras, get it to 12 out of 12. 1 point on Absolute Zero. Max out Albrecht's Aether Ray and attach Raise the Dead to this, because this is our main ability. We'll be killing the most with this, and it'll give us the maximum number of skeletons, like, as often as we can get it, because it's our main ability. And then Disintegration we have at 5, so it'll get to 12 out of 12. And Inner Focus is maxed out. Every Arcanist build should max out Inner Focus. Arcane Will, Nullification, Fabric of Reality, all 1-pointers, and then 3 points in Mental Alacrity, it'll get to 10 out of 10. And oh, look at this, we've changed the build again. So, I was running Blackwater Cocktail before, and because I was running 2 Albrecht's Dualities before, I was converting all the Chaos damage from Demon Fire to Aether damage. Well, I'm not using those 2 rings anymore, so it'd be pointless to actually run Blackwater Cocktail as our trigger ability for Arcane Bomb, because I'm not gearing Chaos damage really at all. And that also does mean Hellfire Mine is not run at 12 out of 12 anymore. It's run at 1 out of 12. And yeah, like, this is 18 points we'll never see again, but I'm fine with that, because we might switch back at some point in the future. Or maybe an ability down the line, like back here, will get changed, and it'll become part of the Aether Ray build. I'm totally fine with spending these 18 points because of that, but also because it gets us more stats, thus more survivability and raw damage. So yeah, it's not a waste to max this tree out, and I pretty much just have the 1 point here to ease my conscience on that, so we don't have like just blank nothingness with like these 18 points spent. And, I mean, yeah, like I said, we can always come back to using the 2 Albrecht's Dualities to convert all the Chaos damage over and use this ability again. But, yeah, 1 point on Flame Touch Temper and Blast Shield. Stunjax is going to be at 13 out of 16, and it'll go up to 16 out of 16 with plus skills. 3 on quick jacks, because we're using quick jacks, and you always do 3 on quick jacks. 5 on full spread, that'll get to 12 out of 12. Now, Vindictive Flame has 10 out of 16, and you can max it out to 16 out of 16, or whatever points you need to get it to 16 out of 16 with plus skills. I put it to 10 because when we get a +1 on it from our gear, it'll get us that last percent of total speed. Well, our next percent of total speed, I should say. And that'll give us the 12 total speed. 1 point on Ulzin's Wrath. So let's equip our gear, and I'll talk about the gear as I equip it. Now, I debated going to the Decree of Aldrich because that would convert a lot of elemental damage to Aether damage, and that helped Stunjacks a lot. But the other abilities on the Decree of Aldrich don't fit as well as Warpfire's abilities. Warpfire's ability to convert half of your cold damage to fire damage is really helpful for making Electra's Flash Freeze stupid powerful. Now, yes, you do convert half of that cold damage to Aether damage with the Decree of Aldrich, and that's a perfectly legitimate option. However, the other conversion that happens with Warpfire is the Frostburn from that ability turns to burn damage. And we have a lot of bonuses to burn damage with this build. And thus, that deals a lot of damage over time, on top of converting half the damage to fire damage. So yeah, Warpfire is my preferred weapon still. Also, this gives +1 to both Demolitionist and Arcanist. And the Decree of Aldrich is just to Arcanist. Also, the Warpfire proc is really good still. So we are running the Chest Piece, Amulet, Offhand, and Shoulders for the Iskander set. Now, there are 3 items in here that got quote-unquote nerfs. This set being one of them. Well, technically it's now 6 items, but you know what I mean. It's the 3-set bonus that got the nerf. It went from 20% physical res down to 16. Whatever. Honestly, it's still probably your go-to item set for your Arcanisting because of the just raw survivability the 3-set bonus gives. And I'm going up to the 4-set because +2 to Arcana skills is, really good. Though I don't still run the 5-piece because our helmet is Outcast Secret. And Outcast Secret's just too awesome. Like, just free devastations trump the, 50% damage reduction? Or no, it's 50% damage reduction at half health. I definitely prefer Outcast Secret with the free devastations. And also, we get a whole another layer of +1 to all Arcana skills. We've changed from the Wraithborn leg wraps to the Pretty Great Pants for survivability. We have Aether Reach, always going to be our go-to gloves. Aether Cascade is an amazing ability. It's what you want from an item for an Albrecht's Aether Ray ability because it basically lets you hit more things while you're using the beam. We've switched from 2 Albrecht's dualities to a Time Flux Band because of the bonus lightning and elemental damage and the +2 to Stunjacks and mental alacrity. And a Band of Eternal Haunt for the bonuses to Aether damage, Electra's Flash Freeze, the Chaos Resistance, and its Eternal Haunt proc, which is great for reducing the Aether res on targets. And we now run the amazing Wormscale Foot Guards. And this is part of my reasoning for switching to Stunjacks too, is we get, Fire Lightning boots now. And actually the stats on these boots are pretty solid. They have both offensive and defensive ability. Movement speed, which I'm noting here because I've been using my all greens guy for a while, and man do I miss movement speed on boots. So yeah, movement speed is actually kind of great to have on all the legendary boots. More elemental res, and +2 to Thermite Mines, which we're using obviously, and the Wormscale proc. Oh, this proc. So Golemborn Greaves proc, it was nerfed. It's now, oh no, just 200 armor to every armor piece when it procs instead of 300. But, and, Golemborn Greaves are still great. That quote-unquote nerf is not that big a nerf, in all honesty. And the Wormscale boots, they gave him this huge buff. I thought they were great beforehand. Blocking fire and lightning for 4,000 damage, that's actually kind of a lot of damage for, some pretty common elementals. And having cold worked in there, and bleeding worked in there, and having it increase to 6,000... Hell yeah, I'm equipping these damn boots. Get on my feet. So, Tinker's Ingenuity is still our belt. This is one of the other quote-unquote nerfed items. They removed the damage absorption, absorption from the proc. But the whole point to Tinker's Ingenuity is not that proc. I mean, the proc's great, and the proc helps. But to me, the whole point to Tinker's Ingenuity is it fixes 2 of your resistances. Just practically on its own. It fixes Poison, Acid, and Bleeding Res. I mean, yeah, we're up to 80 and 91 on both of those. Just from the belt, really. So Tinker's Ingenuity, it really is like the stats on the belt are why you equip the belt. In fact, I'm using it on my all greens guy, even though it's not a green. It's just too good a belt because of that. And I don't really think you can nerf it at this point in time, because there isn't really anything else, in my opinion, that fixes those resistances that well. And then the other so-called nerfed item is Mark of Divinity. The Divine Light proc on this, its recharge was changed from 90 seconds to 120 seconds. And yeah, that's technically a nerf, but it's still a really great proc. And the item itself, again, is a really great item. Just jacking up your elemental res while giving you all those other bonuses is just really solid. And between like Mark of Divinity, our elemental res we get from our abilities and items, and the Worm Scale foot guards, I don't think we're going to be taking elemental damage ever again. We also have Agravax Malice as our relic. So stats, it is a bit more to physique right now than the spirit. I would say go 1-to-1 on this until you feel that you can manage Albrecht's Aether Ray. That's the whole point to going 1-to-1 with spirit. You generally want it like that because you're gonna need a lot of spirit just to maintain the energy regen for the Aether Ray. I could also see doing 2-to-1 physique and spirit is also another way to go about it. I did that with my green guy, and he's maintaining the beam just fine. So a 1-to-1 physique spirit or 2-to-1 physique spirit. We're gonna turn on all of our abilities because we need to look at our energy regen real quick. Our energy regen is 222 right now. That's not the highest I've gotten it, but it is definitely something manageable. And we have 872 fire, 789 lightning, and 1350 Aether. Which is all really, really nice. So, yeah, with our plus skills, yeah, we got our maxed out Iskandras. Everything's capped out in the way we want it. We are not running 2616 on our beam. I don't think you need 2616 on any main ability. Like, just get as many points on your main ability as possible. But you don't need to ultimate cap it, in all honesty, for it to be good. And on the demo side, you can see we got our 1616 Sunjacks. This is 11 out of 16, which, I mean, I kind of want it to be 10 out of 16, but I can't think of where I'd want to put that extra point. So it's just going to stay there. Okay, Devotion. Why did I go into my inventory to look at Devotion? So, Devotion. The progress I would go for with Devotion. Start with Primordial Crossroads, pick up the Imp. Pick up the Hawk. Then pick up the Widow. And an Aether Fire can really go on anything. I have it on Thermite Mines. The Thermite Mines will spawn the Aether Fire quite a bit. And an Arcane Bomb I have on Stunjacks. Now you want the Arcane Bomb either on the Aether Ray or on something spammable, so you can get a lot of Arcane Bombs in the groups of enemies. I recommend Blackwater Cocktail, Stunjacks. I mean, you can run it on Panetti's if you're running a Panetti's build. Even Calidor's Tempest takes advantage of it. Anything spammable, including Albrecht's Aether Ray. Aether Fire, I recommend it on Thermite Mines, Canister Bomb if you have it, or Devastation. And after those two, you want to start picking up Primordial and Chaos stuff, because we want to get to these two constellations. So, what you can do, pop a point in Chaos, and you can start to pick up the Viper and the Vulture. And then you can also pick up Sailor's Guide and the Eel. This will give you access to Eon's Hourglass and its awesome time dilation ability, which I recommend going for first. And then you can pick up Spear of the Heavens. And oh, look at that! We can actually take advantage of both damage types in this setup, because we're running Stunjacks and Albrecht's Aether Ray. And then you can also pick up the Revenant on the way, because it requires 8 Chaos. You'll have extra points after you pick up these two, and you can easily fill this out. And of course, we have Raise the Dead on Albrecht's Aether Ray. So before I head out in the field, I will mention that Time Dilation is on Electro's Flash Freeze still. I also recommend, if you have Canister Bomb, Canister Bomb is great for time dilation. Because Canister Bomb you can actually hit bosses with, so you can get your time dilation proc off on bosses. And it's really awesome to have that happen. This guy just can't, afford Canister Bomb for his point spread. Otherwise, I would be using it. And then Spirit of the Heavens, you can just put on any of your passives that are on all the time. Now I'm going to go and run an Aether Amalgamation fight. So I'm going to go run an Aether Amalgamation fight. If I run into Valderin, so be it. Otherwise, it's just going to be me running Amalgamation, because I'm still looking for a really solid Pulsing Shard. So I'm purposely kind of not using a lot of my abilities right now, just to get some skeletons out. Because you can see that they're actually not dealing insignificant damage on their own. Yeah, of course, Albrecht's Aether is going to deal the brunt of our damages, as is Stunjax. It's actually kind of a powerful ability like this. I mean, as you can see, we can actually just spam Stunjax and kill most things. And it's also far cheaper than Albrecht's Aether. So we actually have two options for our attacks here. This obscene amount of single target damage, or actually a good amount of AoE with our Stunjax. Stunjax will also get us a lot of our arcane bombs. And we got our full little fleet of skeletons. Alright, here's our amalgamation fight. Oh, we got heroes in here. Oh, Aether Blaze. So adorable. You know, there's going to be that day where... Oh, Alara Starfire is in here too. There's going to be that day. You know it's coming. When I go to mock Aether Blaze, and they give him some obscene upgrade where he's just going to deal a shit ton of damage to me and like one-shot me. Now, if there's one problem with the skeletons on Albrecht's Aether Ray, is that you don't get them in fights like this. Like, he needs to summon his adds for me to get my skeletons. And I have to kill the adds with Albrecht's Aether Ray. That's the only problem. Otherwise, they're... Didn't even get one. I did turn him into a skeleton, though. That's what counts. It's the only problem. Boss fights, you'll sometimes not get skeletons. So yeah, we're going to nullify that. Still use nullification, obviously. Yeah, I'm looking for the moose. He's usually the easiest one to find. So Doombringer is the thing I just picked off of that drop, in case anyone was wondering. There it is. Sort of quickly running through all this stuff, killing the heroes. Oh, here's a good fight coming up. Zambuzalauk sure is a lot of stuff. And it's done. In case anyone was wondering, Albrecht's Aether Ray, still ridiculously powerful. Ever since they gave it that one giant buff, I think it was 1007 actually. It's kicked ass pretty much ever since then. I mean, it kicked ass before, but it really kicks ass now. So let's go kill Regen. I just realized I should be killing these little skeletons with Albrecht's Aether Ray. Or the ghost with Albrecht's Aether Ray, so I can actually get skeletons to fight the skeleton. So we fill the screen with particle effects, and it dies. So there we go. Oh, I had a ridiculous Regen Skullbreaker drop when I was farming with my green guy. It was stupid. I should probably go show it off at some point in the future. Ah, here he is. We had to do a reset, but here he is. We're gonna kill all the trash mobs that are back here, though, first. You're not the only one with skeleton ads now, Moozalauk. Ow. Well, you still hurt when you hit me, so there's that. Really use that arcane mark. Yeah, we got Form 1.
That skill's not ready.
So, obviously this is Moozalauk we're talking about, so we're gonna huff some ointment and should be good to go. Oh, right, there's stairs there. So, Stunjacks will actually obey the laws of physics a bit, in that they will not roll upstairs. Just something to keep in mind if you do choose to build Stunjacks. Excuse me, I was having a boss fight. Rude. So let's see what we get out of his stash. Nothing. Hooray, we did it. Okay, so that's going to cover Albrecht's Aether Ray, Build 1. Hey, I'm doing an outro. With the new skeletons in version 1.0.0.8. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.